Welcome to Tech Talks. Our platform edition today is focused on Splunk self-service analytics. Tech Talks is a series of short webinars focused on features and best practices within use cases. We value you, our customer, and want you to continue in your Splunk journey. Our experts helped create these tips and tricks, and we want you to leverage them in your daily role. I'm Anna Mensing, a Senior Product Marketing Manager for the Splunk platform, Splunk Enterprise in particular, and I'm excited to share with you information about our latest Splunk self-service analytics tools and features, and introduce my colleague, Kumar Varun.
Hi, I'm Kumar Varun, Senior Product Manager for Splunk platform. I focus on building tools and capabilities to make it easier for all users to leverage the power of Splunk. Excited to talk about Analytics Workspace today for enabling self-service analytics.
Thanks, Kumar. So today we're going to talk about enabling all types of users to analyze data with Splunk on their own. We're going to talk about what self-service analytics are possible with the Splunk Analytics Workspace. And Kumar is going to walk us through a great demo of the Splunk Analytics Workspace. And then we're going to cover additional resources available to help you take advantage of these capabilities in Splunk. And then our team will be available for Q&A throughout this webinar over the chat feature. So if you watch a recorded version of this webinar, please continue the conversation through the Splunk community website for any follow-up questions. But if you're watching live, please ask us questions through Q&A. So are all your users able to analyze data with Splunk on their own? We see challenges in many organizations where, without self-service, there's a long feedback loop to analyze and visualize data. Why is this? Probably because end users are dependent on SPL experts or power users for data analysis. And there are many end users, but only a handful of SPL experts. With self-service capabilities, these pain points can be addressed to tackle the biggest asks of experts without using SPL. So what are those? To find and browse data, to filter, group by, aggregate, or do time span analysis, to switch between and compare different visualizations, and to create alerts. So how can you do that in Splunk? Splunk Analytics Workspace enables self-service analytics. This is the interactive visualization and analytics capabilities of Splunk without using SPL. So with the Analytics Workspace, you can enable all users to browse data in a tree-like structure. That's metrics, datasets, and events. You can quickly visualize your data using line charts, column charts, heat maps. You can correlate multiple metrics. You can apply different aggregations, split by filters, or time shift comparisons. And you can create dashboards and alerts or exports to CSV or PNG for sharing. So now let's hear from Kumar Varun on the specifics of the Analytics Workspace and see that hands-on demo.
Thanks, Anna. I would love to show you more about Analytics Workspace. What you can see here is an image of the workspace. It allows you to browse, visualize, analyze, and act on data. But why talk about it when I can show you? In this demo, I'm going to open up Splunk Enterprise, where Analytics Workspace is available under the Analytics tab in Search and Reporting app and comes pre-packaged with Splunk Enterprise 8.0 onwards. Here, I'm logged on to my Splunk Enterprise instance, and in the Search and Reporting tab, clicking on the Analytics tab brings up the Analytics Workspace experience. Here we see the data panel on the left-hand side, the main panel where all the charts are created, and the analysis panel on the right-hand side. In the data panel, you see metrics, datasets, accelerated datasets, and alerts. You can browse metrics in a tree-like structure, and just by clicking on a metric, creates a chart in the main panel, and you can change the aggregations among max, min, and several other predefined aggregations on the analysis panel. There are several other options available in terms of group by, split by, filters, and chart settings, which we'll go into details later. In the main panel, we have a time range picker, refresh rate, option to clear all the charts, changing the layout of the charts from grid to stack, the global actions menu, and in the chart, we have the chart actions menu. Let's look at one of the common workflows. An alert was created to track available memory on a server. Maybe you received an email or a Slack message that an alert was triggered. Let's go to the Alerts tab to find that alert. We see multiple alerts available to us. Alerts created in Analytics Workspace can be directly opened for visualization and analysis from this page. Here in the Actions column, you see Open in Analytics Workspace. I'll show later how to create alerts from Analytics Workspace. Let's look at the first alert. Clicking on Open in Analytics Workspace brings back the familiar interface. Here we see that the alert was triggered around 4:29 a.m. and on the right hand side we see the details of the alert, the measure on which the alert was created, evaluation interval, look back, throttle, span, and the conditions. Let's clone this panel to do further analysis of this metric from the charts action menu on the top right side. Here we cloned the chart, and now looking at the analysis panel for this chart, we see this is the mem available metric, and we are looking at the average of mem available with a time span of 10 seconds in the last 1 hour. You can quickly zoom in or zoom out from the chart, or change aggregations from average to max or something else. Modifying the time range, you want to look at for the last 3 hours, or you can also specify a custom time range in a relative way or in an absolute time range. Going back to 1 hour. You can also do a time comparison or time shift that we call to see how mem available was looking 30 minutes back, 60 minutes back, or for any custom time range. You can create filters, split bys, or reference lines. Let's add another aggregation in the same chart using the clone option on the analysis panel for that metric and changing the P99. Now we see for the mem available, we are looking at the two different aggregations, one average and the P99 for the mem available. Now you see the scale for P99 is very different from the scale of the average. What we can do is we can change the scale by moving the P99 to the right axis using the overlay on the right axis option in the analysis panel. You can also change in the chart settings the scale of the right axis or the left axis specifically. Let's change the scale of the right axis to as you can see, the visibility is better by changing the scale. You can also you can also change it to a log scale here. Let's remove the mem available. Next, we want to visualize other related metric. Let me remove P99. And pull CPU utilization from the data panel. I pulled CPU utilization for the same server by searching it in the data panel, and now we have the charts. Here you see the charts share a common hairline for easy analysis and correlation. But sometimes it is easier to just visualize multiple metrics in the same chart. Let me remove this chart browsing in the data panel, and using the add to selected chart, I added the mem available and CPU utilization in the same metric, in the same chart, sorry. We can further split by on the right hand side. So next we want to look at the constituents of these metrics. We remove mem available from this chart, and let's do a split by based upon the app. Here what we are looking at is what are the top 5 apps which contributed to CPU utilization metric. You can zoom in and zoom out again. You can also change the time span, which is currently set to auto, to whatever is desired. As we can see, a line chart isn't being super helpful. Let's change the visualization. We can change to different types of visualizations under the chart settings in the analysis panel for each chart. Let me clone this chart. Go into the chart settings and convert it to area chart. Next, clone this again. Chart settings, a time column chart, and if you are visualizing a large amount of data, we are just not looking at just 1 hour of data, but if you are visualizing a large amount of data and looking for some anomalies at a very high level to start your root cause analysis, in those times heat maps are particularly useful. You can also create categorical charts from the chart menu. Depending upon the type of analysis that you're doing, you can quickly pick the chart that is required and the aggregations or filters. I'll go back to the filters again and see we split the CPU utilization based upon app, but you can also create a filter. And what I want to do is I want to remove the index metrics dash data gen from this data. You can also make the selection for metric indexes from the data panel itself. And finally, you can change it from a stack layout to a grid layout. And what you may want to do next is export these charts to a dashboard for monitoring later on using the global actions menu on the top right. Save all charts to a dashboard. View dashboard. And as you can see, the action button in each panel allows you to open the chart for further analysis, for further slicing and dicing right from the dashboard panel. Clicking on Open in Analytics Workspace will bring you back to Analytics Workspace with the same data, and you can start changing the data on your own without creating any SPL. From the chart action menu, you can also open in search, which allows you to further refine the SPL if required, if you are an SPL champion. Search for related events. You can also save it as a report, export as PNG or CSV. You can also create scheduled and streaming alerts for these metrics. Looking at a streaming alert, You can set the title, description, alert conditions, and the trigger actions. And the alerts created will show up in the alerts section in the data panel. And all this without using a single line of SPL. We have more exciting features coming up in future to enable self-service analytics with Splunk. Now you have seen Analytics Workspace in action. We have some great resources available for you to take over from here and start Splunking. We have documentation, 2 great blogs, and the .conf presentation from Analytics Workspace. These links will be in the follow-up email afterwards. I'll hand it over to Anna for continuing the conversation.
Thanks, Kumar. As I mentioned before, whether you're joining us live today or watching this at a later date, please continue the conversation with us in our Splunk community website. We really appreciate you taking the time out of your schedule to join us today. Please tune back in for future Tech Talks, as we're very excited to share this series with you.